Have you ever wondered why we say, I eat breakfast every day, and not, I am eat breakfast every day? Or maybe you've heard someone say, the sun rises in the east, and thought, why do we use that form? If you've ever been confused about when and how to use the present simple tense in English, you're in the right place. Today, we're going to break down the present simple tense, step by step, with lots of examples and easy explanations. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how and when to use the present simple tense in your daily conversations. So, grab a notebook, get comfortable, and let's get started. Let's start with a simple question. What is the present simple tense? The present simple tense is one of the most common tenses in English. We use it to talk about things that happen regularly, facts, habits, and things that are always true. It's the tense you use when you talk about your daily routine, your likes and dislikes, or general truths. Let's look at the basic structure. For most verbs, the present simple tense uses the base form of the verb. For example, I play football. You read books. We watch TV. They cook dinner. But when the subject is he, she, or it, we usually add an s or es to the verb. For example, he plays football. She reads books. It rains a lot here. Let's break that down a bit more. If the verb ends in ss, sh, ch, x, or o, we add es. For example, he passes the ball. She washes the dishes. It goes fast. Now, let's talk about when we use the present simple tense. There are 4 main situations. First, for habits or routines. Second, for facts or general truths. Third, for fixed arrangements, especially with timetables. Fourth, for instructions or directions. Let's go through each one with examples. First, habits or routines. We use the present simple to talk about things we do regularly. For example, I wake up at 7 a.m. every day. She drinks coffee every morning. They go to the gym on Mondays. Notice how these actions happen again and again. Second, facts or general truths. These are things that are always true or true for a long time. For example, the Earth orbits the Sun. Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. Cats have 4 legs. These are facts that don't change. Third, fixed arrangements, especially with timetables. We use the present simple to talk about schedules. For example, the train leaves at 6 p.m. The shop opens at 9 o'clock. My class starts at 8 a.m. Even though these are future events, we use the present simple because they are fixed by a timetable. Fourth, instructions or directions. When you tell someone how to do something, you often use the present simple. For example, first, chop the onions. Then, add the tomatoes. Turn left at the traffic lights. These are steps or directions, so we use the present simple. Now, let's talk about how to make negative sentences in the present simple. For I, you, we, and they, we use do not or don't. For example, I don't like broccoli. You don't play tennis. We don't watch horror movies. They don't eat meat. For he, she, and it, we use does not or doesn't. For example, he doesn't like broccoli. She doesn't play tennis. It doesn't work. Notice that after doesn't, the verb goes back to its base form. We don't say, he doesn't likes. We say, he doesn't like. Let's practice with a few more examples. I don't go to school on Sundays. She doesn't watch TV in the morning. They don't eat breakfast at home. Now, how do we make questions in the present simple? For I, you, we, and they, we use do at the beginning. For example, do you like pizza? Do they play football? Do we have homework? For he, she, and it, we use does. For example, does he like pizza? Does she play football? Does it work? Again, after does, the verb is in its base form. We don't say, does she plays? We say, does she play? Let's try a few more examples together. Do you speak English? Does your brother live here? Do they come to the party? Does it rain a lot in your city? Now, let's look at some common mistakes with the present simple tense. Mistake number 1, forgetting the S with he, she, or it. For example, saying, she walked to school instead of she walks to school. Mistake number 2, using the wrong form after doesn't or does. For example, saying, he doesn't likes instead of he doesn't like. Mistake number 3, using the present simple for actions happening right now. Remember, for actions happening at this moment, we use the present continuous, not the present simple. For example, I am watching TV now, not I watch TV now. Let's do a quick story to help you remember. Imagine this. Every morning, Anna wakes up at 6 a.m. She brushes her teeth and makes a cup of tea. She reads the newspaper and eats breakfast. At 7 a.m., she leaves for work. She works in an office. She answers emails and talks to clients. At 5 p.m., she finishes work and goes home. This is Anna's daily routine, so we use the present simple tense for all these actions. Now, let's try making some sentences together. I'll say a situation, and you try to make a present simple sentence. Ready? You eat lunch at 12 o'clock every day. How would you say that? I eat lunch at 12 o'clock every day. Great. Your friend, Tom, plays the guitar. How would you say that? Tom plays the guitar. Perfect. Your parents don't like spicy food. How would you say that? My parents don't like spicy food. Awesome. Does your sister study French? How would you ask that? Does your sister study French? Well done. Let's quickly review what we've learned. The present simple tense is used for habits, facts, timetables, and instructions. We add s or es for he, she, and it. We use do and does for questions and negatives. And we always use the base form of the verb after do or does. Let's break these down one by one with lots of examples. Habits and routines. We use the present simple to talk about things we do regularly. For example, I brush my teeth twice a day. John reads the newspaper every morning. We walk to work. My sister studies French on Mondays. Do you exercise regularly? These sentences all describe things that happen again and again. Let's make it more relatable. Imagine your friend asks, what do you do after school? You might say, I watch TV and then I do my homework. Or maybe, I help my mom cook dinner. All of these are habits, so we use the present simple tense. Facts and general truths. The present simple is also used for facts, things that are always true. For example, the Earth orbits the Sun. Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. Cats have 4 legs. Birds fly. Winter comes after autumn. These are not just habits, they are facts that don't change. Let's try a quick quiz. Which is correct? Fish lives in water or fish live in water? The answer is fish live in water. Because fish is plural, we use the base form live. Scheduled events. We also use the present simple for things that are scheduled, especially with public transport or timetables. For example, the train leaves at 6 p.m. My class starts at 9 o'clock. The movie begins at 8. School finishes at 3:30. Even though these things happen in the future, we use the present simple because they are fixed events. Let's imagine you're planning a day out with friends. You might say, the bus arrives at 10, so let's meet at 9:45. Or, the concert starts at 7, don't be late. Again, present simple is used for these scheduled times. Instructions and directions. When giving instructions or directions, we often use the present simple. For example, first, mix the flour and sugar. Turn left at the traffic lights. Open your books to page 10. Add 2 eggs and stir well. Take the second street on the right. These are all commands or instructions, and the present simple is perfect for them. Let's try a little story to see the present simple in action. Imagine it's a typical weekday for Anna. She wakes up at 7 a.m. She brushes her teeth and takes a shower. She eats breakfast with her family. She leaves the house at 8 o'clock and walks to the bus stop. The bus arrives at 8:15. She goes to school and studies math, science, and English. After school, she plays basketball with her friends. In the evening, She does her homework and watches TV. Finally, she goes to bed at 10 p.m. All of these actions are part of Anna's daily routine, so we use the present simple tense. Now, let's look at how to form the present simple tense. For most verbs, just use the base form. I work, you play, we study, they eat. But for he, she, or it, add s or es. He works, she plays, it rains. Some verbs need es instead of just s, like he goes, she watches, it passes. And don't forget about irregular verbs, like have, I have a dog, she has a cat. What about negative sentences? For negatives, use do not or does not plus the base verb. I do not like broccoli. She does not play tennis. They do not watch TV. He does not eat meat. You can also use the short forms. I don't like broccoli. She doesn't play tennis. How about questions? For questions, use do or does at the beginning. Do you like pizza? Does he play football? Do they live here? Does it rain a lot in April? Notice that after does, the verb goes back to the base form. So, not does she likes ice cream, but does she like ice cream? Let's practice with a few more examples. I read books. Do you read books? I don't read books. She sings beautifully. Does she sing beautifully? She doesn't sing beautifully. They travel every summer. Do they travel every summer? They don't travel every summer. Let's try a quick challenge. I'll say a sentence, and you try to change it to a question and a negative. Ready? He eats breakfast at 7. Question. Does he eat breakfast at 7? Negative. He doesn't eat breakfast at 7. Great job. Let's do one more. They play chess on Fridays. Question. Do they play chess on Fridays? Negative. They don't play chess on Fridays. Awesome. Now, let's look at some common mistakes. One mistake is forgetting the s for he, she, or it. For example, she walked to school should be she walks to school. Another mistake is using the wrong form in questions. For example, does he likes pizza? Should be does he like pizza? And sometimes, people use the present continuous instead of the present simple. For example, I am go to school every day is wrong. It should be, I go to school every day. Let's wrap up this section with a few more real-life examples. My dad drives to work. The store opens at 9 a.m. Dogs bark. Milk comes from cows. Do you speak English? She doesn't like spicy food. We visit our grandparents every weekend. Does it snow in your city? I don't understand this question. He always forgets his keys. Before we finish, here's a fun fact. The present simple tense is used in headlines and news stories to make them sound more immediate. For example, President visits new school. Scientists discover new planet. Team wins championship. Even though these things happened in the past, the present simple makes them feel current and exciting. The present simple tense is a way to talk about things that happen regularly, facts, habits, and routines. It's also used for things that are always true. Let's look at how we form the present simple tense. For most verbs, we use the base form of the verb. For example, I play football. You read books. We watch TV. They cook dinner. But when the subject is he, she, or it, we add an s or es to the verb. For example, he plays football. She reads books. It rains a lot here. Let's talk about when to use the present simple tense. There are 4 main situations. Let's go through each one with examples and stories. First, we use the present simple for habits and routines. Think about your daily life. What do you do every day? For example, I wake up at 7 a.m. She drinks coffee every morning. They go to school by bus. Let's imagine Anna. Anna is a student. Every morning, Anna wakes up at 6:30. She brushes her teeth, eats breakfast, and then walks to school. These are her daily habits. So, we use the present simple. Anna wakes up at 6:30. She eats breakfast. She walks to school. Second, We use the present simple for facts and general truths. These are things that are always true or true for a long time. For example, the sun rises in the east. Water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. Cats have 4 legs. Let's try a quick quiz. Is this a fact? Fish swim in water. Yes, it is. So, we use the present simple. Fish swim in water. Third, we use the present simple for things that are fixed, like schedules or timetables. This is common with public transport, classes, or events. For example, the train leaves at 8 o'clock. My class starts at 9 a.m. The movie begins at 7 p.m. Imagine you're meeting a friend. You say, the bus arrives at 5:15. Even if you're talking about the future, you use the present simple because it's a fixed schedule. Fourth, we use the present simple to talk about feelings, thoughts, and states. These are things like liking, loving, hating, knowing, or believing. For example, I like pizza. She loves music. He knows the answer. They believe in hard work. Let's try a quick story. Tom is a big fan of football. He loves watching matches. He thinks his favorite team is the best. So we say, Tom loves football. He thinks his team is the best. Now, let's talk about how to make questions in the present simple. For most verbs, we use do or does at the beginning. Use do with I, you, we, and they. Use does with he, she, and it. For example, do you like ice cream? Do they play tennis? Does he work here? Does she speak Spanish? Notice that after do or does, the verb goes back to its base form. We don't say, does she likes music? We say, does she like music? Let's practice together. I'll say a sentence, and you try to make it a question. I play the guitar. What's the question? Do you play the guitar? She eats breakfast at 8. What's the question? Does she eat breakfast at 8? Now, let's look at negative sentences. Again, we use do not or does not. Do not becomes don't. Does not becomes doesn't. For example, I don't like onions. They don't watch TV. He doesn't play football. She doesn't drink coffee. Remember, after don't or doesn't, we use the base form of the verb. Not he doesn't plays football, but he doesn't play football. Let's do a quick challenge. I'll say a positive sentence, and you change it to negative. They go to school. What's the negative? They don't go to school. She reads books. What's the negative? She doesn't read books. Now, let's talk about spelling rules for adding s or yes. For most verbs, just add s. Play becomes plays. Read becomes reads. But if the verb ends in ch, sh, ss, x, or o, add es. Watch becomes watches. Go becomes goes. Fix becomes fixes. If the verb ends in a, consonant plus y, change the y to I and add es. Study becomes studies. Carry becomes carries. But if the verb ends in a vowel plus y, just add s. Play becomes plays. Enjoy becomes enjoys. Let's do a quick spelling quiz. What's the third person singular of wash? Washes. How about study? Studies. And play? Plays. Now, let's look at some common mistakes and how to avoid them. Mistake 1. Forgetting the s with he, she, or it. For example, she walked to school. It should be, she walks to school. Mistake 2. Using the wrong form in questions or negatives. For example, does he likes pizza? It should be, does he like pizza? Mistake 3. Using the present simple for things happening right now. For example, I eat dinner now. If you mean right now, you should use the present continuous, I am eating dinner now. But if you mean every day, use the present simple, I eat dinner at 7 p.m. Let's do a quick recap. Present simple is for habits, routines, facts, schedules, and feelings. Add s or es for he, she, or it. Use do or does for questions. Use don't or doesn't for negatives. Watch out for spelling changes. And remember, don't use the present simple for things happening right now. Let's practice with a short story. Maria is a nurse. She works at a hospital. Every day, she wakes up early. She takes the bus to work. She helps patients and talks to doctors. She loves her job. At 5 p.m., she finishes work and goes home. Now, let's make questions. Does Maria work at a hospital? Yes, she does. Does she drive to work? No, she doesn't. She takes the bus. Does she love her job? Yes, she does. Now, let's try some negatives. Maria doesn't drive to work. She doesn't start work late. She doesn't dislike her job. Try making your own sentences about your daily life in the comments. What do you do every day? What do you like or dislike? Practice makes perfect. Talking about scheduled events in the future. Did you know we use the present simple to talk about future events? Especially when they are scheduled. For example, the movie starts at 8 p.m. My flight departs at noon tomorrow. Why do we do this? Because these events are fixed, like a timetable. Let's try a few more. The shop opens at 9 o'clock. Our class begins next Monday. Notice how we're talking about the future, but we use the present simple. This is very common with public transport, events, and schedules. So next time you talk about your plans, try using the present simple for things that are set by a timetable. Giving instructions or directions. Have you ever read a recipe or followed instructions? You'll notice the present simple is everywhere. For example, first, you chop the onions. Then you add the tomatoes. Next, you stir the mixture. Why do we use the present simple here? Because instructions are general steps, not actions happening right now. Let's try with directions. You go straight, then you turn left at the traffic light. After that, you cross the street and the bank is on your right. This makes instructions clear and easy to follow. Commentaries and sports reporting. If you watch sports, you'll hear the present simple a lot. For example, Messi passes the ball, he shoots, and he scores. Why do commentators use the present simple? Because it makes the action feel immediate and exciting, even though it's happening right now. Let's try another example. She serves the ball, her opponent returns, and the crowd goes wild. This style is also used in storytelling to make events feel more lively. Telling stories and jokes. Have you noticed that when people tell jokes or stories, they often use the present simple? For example, so, a man walks into a bar and says, then the bartender looks at him and replies, why do we do this? It makes the story feel more real and engaging, as if it's happening right now. Let's try a short story. A woman goes to the market. She sees a strange fruit. She asks the seller, what is this? The seller smiles and says, try it. Using the present simple brings the listener into the story, talking about facts, laws, and general truths. We use the present simple for things that are always true. For example, water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. The Earth orbits the sun. Cats like to sleep a lot. These are facts that don't change. Let's try a few more. Light travels faster than sound. Plants need sunlight to grow. Whenever you want to talk about something that is always true, use the present simple. Expressing feelings, thoughts, and states. We often use the present simple to talk about how we feel or what we think. For example, I love chocolate. He believes in hard work. She feels happy today. I think this movie is great. These are not actions, but states or opinions. Let's try a few more. They prefer tea to coffee. We need more time. He knows the answer. Notice how we don't say, I am loving chocolate or he is knowing the answer. Some verbs like love, know, believe, and need are usually used in the present simple. Headlines and news reports. Have you ever read a news headline? They often use the present simple to make the news feel current and important. For example, government raises taxes. Scientists discover new planet. Team wins championship. Even though these events happened in the past, the present simple makes them feel fresh and urgent. Let's try a few more. Fire destroys building. Actor marries childhood friend. This is a special style used in journalism. with here comes and there goes. We use the present simple in phrases like, here comes the bus. There goes my chance. These phrases are used to point out something happening right now. Let's try a few more. Here comes the rain. There goes your phone. It's a quick way to draw attention to something. In conditional sentences, zero conditional. We use the present simple in both parts of a zero conditional sentence. For example, if you heat ice, it melts. If it rains, the grass gets wet. These sentences talk about things that are always true. Let's try a few more. If you mix red and blue, you get purple. If you don't water plants, they die. This is useful for talking about rules, science, and facts. In proverbs and sayings, many English proverbs use the present simple. For example, actions speak louder than words. Practice makes perfect. Time heals all wounds. These are general truths that apply to everyone. Let's try a few more. Honesty is the best policy. Money doesn't grow on trees. Next time you hear a proverb, listen for the present simple. Let's practice together. I'll say a sentence and you try to guess which advanced use it is. Ready? The train leaves at 7 a.m. That's right, it's a scheduled event in the future. If you touch fire, it burns. Yes, that's a zero conditional. First, you mix the flour and sugar. Correct, that's giving instructions. Government announces new policy. That's a news headline. Great job. Tips for using present simple in advanced ways. Listen to native speakers and notice how they use the present simple. Read news headlines, recipes, and stories. Try using the present simple in your own speaking and writing. Don't be afraid to practice with friends or in the comments below. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up. Don't forget to subscribe for more easy English lessons. If you have any questions about the present simple tense, leave a comment below. I love reading your questions and helping you out. Share this video with your friends who are also learning English. Remember, practice makes perfect, so try making your own sentences in the present simple tense in the comments. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Keep practicing and keep learning.